Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey peeps, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Hipsters and Hamsters and is from the company Light Play Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. The campaign is ongoing right now. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen as well as down in the description section of the video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, Hipsters and Hamsters is, as the name implies, a tug-and-cheek card game where you are either a hipster or a hamster, but you kind of switch back and forth. Essentially, you're playing cards down that have very funny artwork of hipsters and hamsters and all the sort of stereotypical tropes of both of those species. If hipster is their own species, I think most people would say that they are. And what you're trying to do is actually somewhat thematic to what those two species would want to do. So if you're a hamster, you want to get as many cards as possible, and specifically 8 cards or more, and then you'll win the game. But if you're a hipster, you want to get rid of all of your cards because you want to be like an aesthetic or something. I don't know what they're up to. But you want to do one of those things in order to win the game. If you can meet one of those conditions, you will win. But of course, it's not quite that simple. So let me give you a brief look at the game with a prototype version of the game. So what you see in this overview may differ from what the final version is. Just keep that in mind. But then we're going to come back and we'll discuss it further. Hipsters and Hamsters is a competitive game for 3 to 6 players. You can win the game in one of 2 ways. You can win as a hamster by having 8 or more cards in your hand at the end of your turn. You can win as a hipster by having 0 cards in your hand at the end of your turn. In the advanced game, you'll play several rounds of the game, earning points each time for winning the game until someone wins with 50 points. You can also play in evenly matched teams using the advanced rules, and in that case, it's the first team to get to 60 points. To start the game, shuffle up the deck and deal 4 cards out to each player. Your opponents are always allowed to know how many cards you have in your hand. The rest of the deck is placed down as a draw pile with space for a discard pile. Turns in the game are very simple. You always start by drawing a card, and you always end by playing a card into the discard pile. If the card has an action, you'll do it. But regardless, play then proceeds to the next player to the left, continuing on until someone has met one of the win conditions. In the basic game, you do not have to declare ahead of time which role you're trying to win as, and can switch it up however you like. But in the advanced game, you must declare it. If you win as your declared role, in this case, you'll get 20 points. If you win as the role you didn't declare, you get only 10 points. There are 4 types of cards in the game. Object cards have no action, so you simply discard one on your turn. However, if you have multiple copies of the same object in your hand at the same time, you can discard them all as one play on your turn. When you play an action card, you must perform the action described on the card, which could involve drawing a card, putting cards on the bottom of the deck, or giving or taking cards from the other players. Calamity cards can be played against another player right before they draw a card on their turn, and you can't use them on yourself. Only 1 card can be played against a player per turn, so first come, first served. These cards might make someone draw cards, place cards at the bottom of the deck, or limit what they can do on their turn. If you play one against another player, you must draw another card to replace it. If it's your turn and you have nothing but Calamity and Comeback cards in your hand, you can discard one, but this is the only circumstance in which you can do so. Comeback cards can be played in response to Calamity cards that have been played against you or someone else, although you can't play a Comeback card on a Calamity card that you yourself have played. And they allow you to either avoid the Calamity action or take the Calamity action. Just like a Calamity, you must also replenish your hand after playing one of these Comeback cards. Play continues until one player or team has met the win condition. That is Hipsters and Hamsters. Well, of course, the big selling point of Hipsters and Hamsters is the theme. And I think that it makes a very effective use of the theme because of the high-quality artwork that they use, and, of course, all the tongue-in-cheek references, which, if you, as far as I'm concerned, hipster jokes never get old, and probably never will get old, as long as hipsters are still around until the next thing we can deride comes around. But, of course, it's all in good fun, and I think that the game is done very tastefully. It's definitely, it can be a family game, especially since the rules of the game are very light. So it's easy to get into, it's easy to learn, it's easy to teach to other people as well, of any age group and of any play level. So casual gamers who are not used to heavier, more strategic games, but also people who are used to heavier games who just want something a little bit light and frivolous and fun to play on a Friday night. I think any kind of group like that can play and learn and potentially enjoy Hipsters and Hamsters because it is just that easy to get into. There is decision making in the game, so you have to decide which particular card you're going to play and whether you have to switch on the fly. What are you going to go for? What's your goal? So your actual goal of the game is going to change based on the circumstances in the game, based on what other players have played, basically on what they have played against you, like the Calamity cards. All of these different things can modify your goal, so you may put yourself into one position, get slammed by a card, or just get yourself into a position where you draw certain cards and you're like, well, this is going to work out better for me, so this is the direction that I want to go in. But of course, you're doing all this decision making with cards that have fun artwork of hipsters and hamsters on them. So I think that if you are someone inclined to like the theme, to like that little bit of an in-joke, and if you're a hipster yourself and you have a sense of humor, or if you're a hamster and you have a sense of humor, I guess, but they're notorious for not having a sense of humor. It's really, really sad. But if you're one of those people, if you're a casual gamer, if you're a heavy gamer that likes light games just as a quick filler, then you should definitely check out, and remember, you can play this in teams as well. You should definitely check out Hipsters and Hamsters. The Kickstarter campaign is going on right now, so you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the official Kickstarter page, follow the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video, and go there and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Hipsters and Hamsters, excuse me, from Light Play Games. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our sponsors. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.